Shock horror, housing prices are still rising in Ireland. If you're a regular viewer of this channel and you watch a lot of my market update videos, you'll know that I've been suggesting that the market has been cooling over the last few months. If you're not a regular viewer, welcome to the channel. My name is Shane Fleming. If you are a young buyer, perhaps you have a keen eye for investment properties, or you're looking to get involved in investment properties, but you haven't even bought your first property yet, I've got a quick tip for you at the very end of this video. The market has been cooling in recent months. The percentage of uplift has been less than 1% every month so far in 2022. The level of increase has been falling each month, month on month. I prepared a graph recently for my monthly newsletter tracking the percentage increase of house prices in Ireland for the last 2 years. The percentage data is based on sales prices, not asking prices, and generally speaking, the data is about 2 months behind. As you can see from the graph, the percentage increase has been slowing all the time in 2022, nearly going down to 0% in April. New data from the CSO released this week, including data up to May 2022, suggests that prices have increased by 0.8% in May 2022. This is still less than 1% of a monthly increase, but it's still a bit of a jump from April. The graph looks a little bit different when I add in May's details and that 0.8% increase. The market was trending downwards, but now trending upwards. Sorry, that's probably not fair for me to say. It's not really a trend, but it's just 1 month, and for it to be a trend, perhaps it needs to be 2 or 3 months. Is May an outlier to recent trends of cooling, or is it an indicator that prices are about to increase again? When you look at how 2021 started, the trend of percentage change was increasing month on month. The trend for 2022 started with a downward trend. So far, housing prices have increased by 3.1% for the first 5 months of 2022. This is largely in line with a lot of predictions for the start of the year. The interesting months to look at this year will be June, July, August and September, where prices increased nearly 7% alone during the same period in 2021. I do not expect the same percentage price increase for the same period in 2022. I would expect some price increases, but perhaps less than 3% over the same period, which will have a big impact on how annual percentage price increases are reported. Reading deeper into May's CSO figures and data, it is telling, and it does back up some of the predictions or comments that were made earlier in this year. Nationally, house prices have increased by 0.9% in May, but nationally apartment prices have decreased by 0.1%. House prices in Dublin have increased by 1.2% in May, and house prices in Dublin city centre have increased by 1.4% in the same period in May as well. But the telling picture of this, or the telling data of this, is apartment prices in Dublin fell by 0.5%. While it has been reported, and there is evidence there, that stock has increased by about 20 to 25% in recent months in many markets, I have been making the case for months now that the supply is largely coming from landlords who are leaving the market and selling apartments, and the majority of new supply is apartments. I've been asked a number of times over the last few months why houses in Dublin City and Dublin that need a huge amount of work aren't falling in prices, considering how much refurbishment costs have increased. My response generally has been to this question is that supply of those type of houses is actually lower than it was last year, particularly in houses over 750,000 in Dublin. There's far fewer of those on the market this year than there was last year. Hence, this explains why house prices have continued to increase in May and why apartments have decreased in value. The next few months are going to be interesting in terms of the housing market. The ECB are going to increase interest rates on the 21st of July. They'll likely increase them again in September. These increases are likely going to be less than what the US Fed did a few weeks ago, but there will be some impact on housing. However, many markets are still driven by cash, particularly at the higher end, so I don't see a crash happening just yet. And also, I think supply is going to still be a major issue for some time to come. I will share some more thoughts on the most recent data once I've kind of reviewed it in more detail in my newsletter within the next few days, so make sure you sign up. Details are below, and also while you're at it, help the channel out by subscribing and hitting that like button. So if you are a young buyer out there looking for opportunities to buy, I do think some opportunities will come about in the next few months, particularly if you're a young buyer interested in apartments and perhaps you're willing to buy an apartment that has an extra room and you're able to rent that room out. If you are thinking about looking for opportunities that are out there at the moment, I would suggest looking for properties that have rental caps on them, where that rental cap is well below the market rent for that property. This will probably allow you to buy the property for below the market value, and while you're living in it and renting that room out, the rental cap doesn't apply. If you live in it for a few years, that rental cap disappears and you'll bring the property back up to its full market value, hence creating an opportunity for you to buy a property below the market, also rent out a room and avail of the rent a room relief. Basically house hack an apartment, and I think the rental caps will drive people to sell, and it will open up some opportunities for young savvy buyers who want to also rent a room out. For more tips on real estate, make sure you subscribe to the channel, show your support by hitting that like button. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.